so I'm not sure if I have enough battery left for this. I have less than 20 minutes, but I wanted to go over my Bruce deck profile just because there are no cards in set 7 that really help Bruce's strategy. No like actual final rush support, or like I said, generic cards that could be abused in this deck to whereas like it wouldn't be too much of a hindrance to like try and build their deck around it or like just tech it in. So my list from set 6 is my list for set 7. I haven't, forewarning, this is the grade 3 version of Bruce. I haven't tried the grade 4 version at all. I just feel like the grade 3, I wanted to try the grade 3 version first, and I've been having like success slash like the deck makes sense to me as a grade 3 version just because it has like a greater power output, and I feel like the grade 3 version of Bruce is just a little bit more flexible than the grade 4 version. I feel like the grade 4 version, you really have to like try and play the deck as like an OTK deck, or you know, you're just gonna be like very top heavy towards. I've seen people play like 15 to 13 like cards without shield. That's including the grade 4, that's including Julian, that's including Marjorie, like just like a whole, and like that's including the order cards too. So it's like it's just like way too, that's like way too much for me. Like I feel like the sweet spot for me is like maximum 11 to 12. Like cards without shield is like the sweet spot for me. But let's get into the deck profile. I do want to go over the combo cards that you are more often not going to play in this deck first, or if you don't play, them, or you don't know why I play them, I'll explain it obviously in the video. But 4 copies of, right there, 4 copies of Julian. He's just basically the new ace card of the deck, especially since he allows you to make an extra attack on turn 3, versus beforehand we'd have to wait till turn 4 to create our own multi-attacks of Bruce's ability. So, you know, he's just like a really key slash clutch card. That's why you're maxing out on 4. You basically built your whole deck around this. And then we're playing 4 copies of Protobulb Dragon. The reason that we're playing 4 copies of Protobulb Dragon is because he works really well with Julian on your final rush turns, to whereas it just clears your other front row rear guard circle, to whereas Julian's able to more often not call what you just cleared, and it also lets you add pieces, shield, follow up for next turn into your hand. So yeah, that's the main reason why I choose to play like the grade 3 Bruce versus grade 4 Bruce, just because we're able to play Protobulb again, and just it just feels so good just adding those cards from Soul that you normally would never see again back to your hand. And then we are playing 4 copies of Jewel Core Dragon. Now, Jewel Core Dragon's another card, another combo piece that the only reason we're playing this card is because of Julian, because of Jewel Core Dragon's ability is after it attacks or boosts, it goes to Soul, which clears up the circle, to whereas when you swing with Julian, you're able to call a unit onto that circle again and then get off your extra attack that way. So these are the, I guess, like the combo cards that go with Julian. I know some people play more like pseudo combo cards like Marjorie and Leonard. I'm not playing those in this build because I'm like trying to focus more on like this combo. Like I'm trying to do like specific things in a specific way, if that makes any sense. But going on to the rest of the deck, I will just like pretty much go over it normally. I'm playing 3 copies of Persona Ride. Do I want to keep going that way? Nah, I'll just leave it like this. I'm playing 3 copies of Persona Ride. It's the, you know, you want to max out on Persona Ride. This is grade 3 Bruce. You know, this plus an order is just 20k to your front row. Is just like really nice. But 3 copies of Persona Ride, and then I am maxing out 4 copies of Pandemonium Tactics. No, my goal isn't to get the 12 cards in Soul to give my Vanguard a crit. My goal is to feed my Soul to whereas I have good stuff to call slash fish with Protobulb Dragon, with Julian, to whereas like I have like good cards I want to call out to Soul as attackers, and I have good cards like PGs, over triggers, 20k shield, effect heal triggers that I can add back to my hand depending on the matchup and depending on the game state. So that's my reasoning for playing Pandemonium over over Hellblast Full Dive. I know people really like Hellblast Full Dive. I'm just a bigger fan of Pandemonium because it's like, it's more often than not a one card fuel for your final rush restand. And as you see, we're not running any of the other cards that soul charge when they attack or like soul charge when they hit. Julian's basically our only boy. So if we just don't see Julian and we're basically like playing like set three Bruce, or like basically just like set 3 Bruce, then this is just really helpful in terms of, okay, I didn't kill him with this final rush, but I have enough fuel to whereas if I don't see this guy, then I'm just able to kill him with the next final rush. But that's my reasoning there. And then, are we gonna put this here? Yeah, we're gonna put this here. For my grade 2s, I'm playing 3 copies of Eden. I know this is very shocking because Eden's just been like a really like huge staple in the deck for like, especially like the OTK version of grade 4 Bruce, like for a long time, at least in my opinion, because it has a crit on rear guard and then you're giving crits to your Vanguard, and it's just like more attacks that your opponents, like if they take this, it's more often than not lethal. But I did cut him down to 3 in this list because he's not the main focus. He is a good rear guard in the early game. You don't really have any cards to play in the early game besides Julian on turn 3. But he's a really good card to play in the early game just because of his on-hit effect. But we still play him for that crit because there's there are certain scenarios. Again, it's very dependent on your board, what you have in soul, your opponent's damage count, and what they have in hand. That there's certain scenarios where we call this off of Julian to make a crit lane. Or, if we don't, like I said, like it's just like a natural crit lane. On a restand, only on its restand, it's a natural crit lane. And then we're playing, put her here. Playing 4 copies of Megan. This is your prime target to call off of Julian for his ability. Usually you want to swing with Megan unboosted first. If you Persona Road, she's 30. If you Persona Road and did the order, she's 40 by herself without a boost. Then you'll swing with Julian boosted by Protobulb, put Megan into soul, and then use Julian's skill to call Megan back out, and then she'll be like 30 by herself, and then like she'll be 40 by herself again when she attacks again. So it's just like a really good card, and she has gone up quite a bit in price because of it. Just like it's really strong and free. But going on to the rest of the deck, 3 DPGs, nothing to talk about here. 1 copy of the Blitz Order PG. Again, really not much to talk about here. Just like really good against grade 4 decks, really good against Guard Restrict. There's really no reason not to play it. And then going on to the triggers, Dark States OT. Again, not much to talk about here. It's just better than the Gray Elemental OT. And then where are we putting this? Yeah, I guess I'll put this here. And it makes sense still. Yeah, that still makes sense. So we're playing 3 front triggers because we do want to max out on our crits, and we don't play draws because draws would just deck us out. So we're playing 3 of the effect fronts, 4 copies of the Into Soul crit, 4 regular crit, 2 regular heal, and then like I said in the beginning, we are playing effect heals. We're playing 1 of each actually right now. I'm still playing around with this. I know more recently effect heals have gone out of favor for me, but this is like the same thought process as why I was playing them in Barrow Magnus in the beginning, except this isn't really like it's not like, not that it's not a minus, but I'm able to retain like a more plentiful hand in Bruce than in Barrow Magnus, to whereas I could add these or play these without much trouble. Again, the thought process is we're playing the 20k fronts, so we do have extra shield to whereas this doesn't hurt as much. But then again, there are still scenarios that may or may not rise up, whereas you're not able to activate their effect, and you would much rather have the 15 in hand than the 10 because it would either make or break that game. But this is my Bruce deck profile. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I don't think it's the top tier deck right now, just because like you do have to wait until turn 4. Even though when you do play on turn 4, like you have like a really good turn 4. But again, it's one of those things where you have to get there. But I don't think it's like too terrible, like tier 3 or anything. Like if anything, I would put like all Bruce decks in at least tier 2 playable, just because of like the amount of like damage they can put on turn 4 and the amount of like recuperation / plussing they're able to do because of it. But anyways, guys, later.